and why upgrade to Cumulus 10. And I can see we've still got heaps of people logging in. I thought the last webinar that we ran a couple of weeks ago on cultural heritage was pretty much the most popular webinar to date. But this one, I think this one is even getting more attendees. We've got, I think we're going to reach probably 20 or so people online in just a few minutes. Now then, you will see in your GoToWebinar screen that there is a questions area. Now then, I'm on a phone here today. Now then, please let me know if anybody's having a problem hearing. I'll just also put a chat message in there. All right, so okay, so I'm assuming that it's all good. We've got a handout you'll see. There is a Cumulus 10 features. Now then, I'm sharing my entire screen for this presentation. I'm doing that because of the number of different applications that I need to be showing. This is a PDF that I think you can get off our website. You can also download it through the GoToMeeting webinar pane. And that was something that we published earlier on this year. It's going to be a basis for a lot of the presentation. I'm actually going to start over here talking about web portals. You'll also find a lot of this information is over here on our blog. So our blog over here has a whole section on portals. Portals is the new version of the Cumulus portal for people to search and retrieve content. Effectively, it's going to be replacing Cumulus sites for existing users of Cumulus. We should find that just looking at the attendees, most of which I know, I can see that a majority of the people are already using Cumulus. This webinar is suitable for both existing users of Cumulus 9 or who have just recently upgraded to an earlier version of 10 and want to find out more about the features, or people who are considering Cumulus for the first time and really just want a webinar presentation on the best new features in the Cumulus 10 package. So portals, this is the replacement. I can see that most of you are probably using sites. This is the replacement for sites. We will be spending quite a bit of time going through portals. That's the first part of the presentation. From there, I'm going to actually swap over to my iPad, and we'll be sharing my iPad screen out during the presentation, and that's to show the responsive design of both portals and web client, and then moving over to the new iOS mobile app. So I've got that also running here. I'll then be jumping back to my desktop to go through some of these web client improvements here, print templates, a little chat about controlled vocabulary and customized asset relationships. There are quite a range of other types of new features, many of which aren't very good to show in a webinar. They're more sort of in the background sort of stuff or fairly technical. So for example, this category handling process, that's a fairly technical one. I'm not trying to address that. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll be going back to InDesign Client. InDesign Client is a new integration that Canto offers with the Adobe product range. Now then, I'm just checking back into my GoToMeeting. We've got whole people there. Nobody's raised a question or a chat, so I assume everybody is hearing okay. That's really great. Checking, I've got my recording working, and good, lovely. All right. Okay, so from here I'm going to start on portals. So I've just swapped over. to my first screen on Portals. I'm running Safari on my Macintosh desktop at the moment, and I'm just going to take you through Portals. Portals is the new web portal from Canto that's all about people being able to search and retrieve content. So from when you first log in, I'm first going to log in without or use Portals without a login. So I'm using the guest account here. You get these large container buttons that allow you to take you into different parts of the content. I'm going to go into my published content here. You can see I'm now in our image library gallery. I can go and click on one of these assets here. I can open up this asset into a full screen view if I wish, and that's going to take me into the preview of the asset. You can see we're showing quite high resolution previews of that content here. From here, we can go and click via this slider over here and look at other assets. This is all designed to be very easy for people to use. At any time, I can choose to do a download up here. So that downloads that document, and we get a range of different predefined asset action sets or conversion properties. So you can share out your content to your community and have them being able to search and retrieve content. And when they retrieve content, it can be converted to a suitable format. Now, just to recap, just like Sites, Portals is an unlimited web browser usage application. So you can have as many people as you like logging into Portals. And this is primarily how you're going to share out your content. The application is designed to be all simple and easy to use. So I'm just going back to my main container for my published content. I can go further into and look into the marketing subcategory here, or take myself back up to the published container there. I've got several filters set up on the left-hand side here. You get to define what filters you want. So say if I wanted to specifically just look at BMPs, for example, I could do that. Or I can look at, so I want to look at InDesign file only. Just here, whilst we're looking at some of those InDesign files, yes, we can do exactly the same that we did for the image files. We can open them up, previewing them. So that's getting me a full screen or close to a full screen preview on that InDesign document there, as well as metadata associated with it. So Portals makes all of the different media available to your consumers. They can use this very simple interface to navigate between that content. And then they get a few other capabilities. Now then, I'm going to, at this point, choose to log in. Now then, there are some differences between setting up a guest login, as in you just access the portal. You don't go in and put in your name and password or anything. You just go straight in. So one of the things is that the basket up here becomes a temporary store. If I want to add things to the basket, like this file and this file and that file, so you can see I've just added 3 assets into my basket. Portals will remember it, will keep it in there. I can use that to download a collection of files all in one go. I can empty the basket, but essentially that basket is only going to be remembered during the time that I'm logged in, basically because I haven't logged in as a known user. So Cumulus or Portals can't remember who I am for the next time that I log in. If you want some more features, we can go up to options and we can choose to log in. So I'm just going to log in here using my standard login. This is the same login that you would use to any other interface, whether that's a web client or the desktop. I've just been taken back to the initial start screen here. I can go into publish now. People ask us why these icons appear here. There are some settings to choose which thumbnail will be showing a particular container anytime. I think this is because the last image that I previewed from this container is being shown there. So I can navigate back in just like before, but you'll notice that for start, it's remembered my basket, the 3 assets that I had logged in there because I'm in the same session here. And it's also given me access to a range of collections here. So these are collections, these are basically stored baskets. Now then, I can go and look at one of my stored baskets. So this is one that I created before. It's images for a brochure, for example, here. Or I can go up to look at my basket. And just like before, I had the ability to download my basket. I can now save my basket as a new collection. So I might want to either keep this as a private collection, give it a name and description, and this is just for me to go back to later on, or I want to share this collection out with some other people. So we could be this. Now we can choose to share this out to all users, or I just want to share this out to some particular users here. So if I choose John here, this collection is now going to be sent out to John, and this is a way that I can use portals to collaborate with other users of Cumulus. Okay, there's a few other things that somebody can do within portals. So there's a few controls up here. If I go back into my publish container, I can choose to look at large thumbnails, medium or small. I can choose the sort order here. We can, of course, navigate via the search up here. So I can come in and navigate on a particular keyword and just look for carnival. But essentially, portals, it's designed to be simple and easy to use. It's designed to give the users a quick and fast access to the content. And you know, I'll just check my go-to meeting, see if anybody's right. Yes, somebody's commented that the screen update is a little bit in front of the voice. Yes, that happens with the actual webinar. I'll try to slow down a little bit. I was just getting to the point of saying that Portals is quite fast in its response. It's one of the key aspects about the Portals application, that you can go at quite a fast rate of using it. So thank you, Niels. I will try to remember to slow down a little bit there. Anybody just let me know via the questions or the chat message there, any feedback during the time of the presentation. Okay, now I'm going to hide everything, and I'm going to go over here to my iPad. And now you have on my screen my iPad window. So I'm just sharing my iPad to my computer for purposes of the presentation. And I just wanted to start off by showing you Portals. Portals is a fully responsive HTML5 application. I can do essentially the same things here in Portals that I was doing on the computer, on my iPad here. So I'll just repeat some of those actions there. So I can go and look at this content. I can open that up on my iPad. I'm getting full access to all of this content here on my iPad in using the same sort of interface that I was using on my desktop computer, which is all very good. And in this day and age, in the 21st century, responsive design is where it's all at. So I can now, what I'm doing now is I've just turned my iPad on the side, and I'm just going to repeat what I was doing there, but with my iPad in portrait mode rather than landscape mode. You can see the menu is now appearing over here. This is a part of responsive design. So if I want to go into marketing, I can do that here. All right, so you know, fully responsive design here. All the menus are rearranging themselves on the screen to work with the iPad being thrown into portrait mode. Alrighty, so you can use Portals either from your desktop computer, or you can use Portals from your iPad or your smart device. I'm using it from an iPad. This will work equally as well from any tablet with a browser, so you can use it on Android or the Windows tablets or anything you like. You know, and it's fully responsive design there, so that makes your content available to anyone, anywhere, which is really good. Now then, whilst we're displaying my iPad, I'm just going to jump across to Web Client. So Web Client, I think quite a few of you will be familiar with. It's the application for content management. It was added in Cumulus 9. I just wanted to show you that Web Client is also now fully responsive design. So again, it'll work on your tablet as well as on a computer. So you see me going through to my interface here. If I want to look at, say, like the preview here, you can see that's going to be opening up on my iPad and showing me the existing annotations that's on this image. Here we go. Oh, nothing there. That's right. Yes, I'm actually accessing as a another application. Right. Okay. Right. So Web Client. Fully responsive design, fully operational on any of the smart devices as well as your computer. Now then, the next app that I wanted to show on my iPad here is the mobile app. There was a previous application for smart devices. This is now being replaced with Canto's mobile app. So you can see I'm just coming to the same category content that we're looking at before. Oops, I meant to go into marketing, sorry. Marketing, and these are the same apps. And essentially you might be asking me, why would I choose one of these interfaces over another? Well, okay, the mobile app is an app. It's something that you download for your iOS device. It is an application, so it provides a little bit of extra functionality. You can see over here under some of the actions associated here, I can go and look at the annotations, and it's giving me a custom interface to create new annotations here. So say if I wanted to add a new one up here and say, oops, no, I just wanted to put that there and say, you can see that I've got a fully custom built interface here for adding new annotations to an asset via my iPad. You get to see all of the metadata over here. You get this scroll bar down the bottom. I think we've moved through this. You can also just drag and drop between different assets if you like. You know, so it is a different way, and quite frankly, we find that some people prefer to use an app rather than using a browser and logging in. So, you know, the option to use this interface, you know, it's fully integrated, so I can send email and it opens up the mail application that I've got running on my iPad. Now then, mobile app is of course just only available for iOS devices. It is not available for Android yet. And I know from Canto's direction, Android is probably not something that they'll be doing soon. It's going to be based upon user requests. There was a large discussion about it in the last year's meeting in September in Germany, and I expect it'll be conversed about some further. So at the moment, mobile app is available for all of the iOS devices. I've got it running on my iPad. I know it works fine on your iPhone as well, and it's really up to you. You know, so you can see that the mobile app is fully integrated with all of the iOS devices, and you may choose to be using portals on your tablet device, and it's going to work for everybody with the tablet, so you don't have to worry about iOS or an Android. It is a different interface. You may prefer portals because you also use it on your desktop application and you like the type of interface here. That's fine. It really is there to give you a choice of what you want to do. Now then, with all of the Cumulus bundles now, you get all of the applications that I've been showing you so far. You get all of portals, you get Web Client, and you also get the mobile app. So, you know, you do get access to all of them. They all use the same logins, and a user can just choose whichever one they want to use. Okay, now then I'll just turn that off there. And we'll click away from there and go back to my, oops, no, hit the wrong button. Go back to my interface over here. Oops, didn't mean to go there. Good. Okay, now then, so I'm now, just to be clear, I'm now back to my main interface. This is my computer now. I'm gone back to Safari here, and you know, I'm now going to go into a web client, and we're going to change topic a little bit here. So far in the presentation, I've gone through portals, and I showed some of the features, simple and easy to use interface, designed to allow a large community of users to search and retrieve content, is fully responsive design, can be used from any tablet. I then went off and showed you the iOS mobile app, which is available for any of the Apple devices, iPad or iPhone. And now we're going to look at some of these web client improvements here. So particularly I'm going to look at print templates. I'm going to talk a little bit about the control vocabulary support, and then the custom asset relationships. So for my web client interface here, I'm just going to log in, and the first thing we're going to do is look at print templates. So I'm just going to go and grab some of these assets over here. I should say there's a range of things. Notice up here there's this little control. You can choose to select or deselect. It was a thing that wasn't in the previous version of web client. It does make life a little bit easier for you to select and deselect things. So there's more stuff around the place, but let's go and look at the print template. So under here on the web client print toolbar, you can see that we can go and select a template. So this is very much like how the print reporting works automatically if you've got scheduler or maybe a RoboFlow automated action, and you might have got us or got your own people to create a report based upon a scheduled action. But this allows the user to select some assets, as I've done there, choose a print template, and hit the print button. Now, when that prints, it'll come up with the standard print dialog box working in my browser. I can either go and print to a printer device or save it as a PDF. I'm not actually going to do that right now. I just wanted to show you that you can get to that print menu via the toolbar, and you get access to all of the different print templates. Okay, now then, next item here, control vocabulary. So I just uploaded these assets yesterday, I think it was. They're from my trip last year to Coromandel in New Zealand. So I thought, back end of Cumulus, and when I go into the keyword field, it does an automatically lookup. I can choose an existing field like this, and it shows the hierarchy of where that usage of the word comes in. Right, I'm just having a look. We've got some more questions in there via GoToMeeting. It's all right. Good. Now then, and when we type in there, you can see that we can choose keywords from different areas of our lexicon, which is great. Now, this functionality is tied to our keyword field. We also have same or similar functionality tied to the containers field, so you can place content into a different container, like I can place it into marketing, which is a part of the published container. Now, with controlled vocabulary, what this allows you to do is take your hierarchy of keywords or vocabulary, your lexicon, and then you can deploy different parts of the tree to either different fields or make them available based on people's permissions. And this means that it becomes a lot more flexible. The issue with the keywords field is basically it shows up the entire keyword category tree, and it's only tied to that single one field, keywords. But with control vocabulary, we allow you to set up a new category tree called vocabulary, and you create whatever vocabulary structure you like in there. And then when you set up a field at the back end, one of the properties of that is to choose a section of the vocabulary category tree that you want to be available or associated with that field. So you can have the whole thing, or you can have a specific structure within that vocabulary category there. So controlled vocabulary, a very powerful feature. It allows, essentially you can break away from having keywords and containers. You can have as many other fields as you like tied in with your vocabulary tree. Now how people used to do that is by having lists, as in string lists. String lists are a little bit more difficult to handle and edit. They're still very applicable. A good usage of a string list is this one here, where you're going between a short list of fields. Vocabulary is really designed to maintain a very large lexicon. We're actually implementing this control vocabulary for one of our customers at the moment. They're a public sector organisation from cultural heritage, and their vocabulary is very large. Think of a few 100,000, and we're implementing that into the vocabulary category tree, and we're going to then separate that out into different fields, and so they can address their vocabulary in the way that they feel their users will be able to respond to it best. Of course, everything within that is fully searchable. Okay, so that's control vocabulary. Now then, here I'm going to go off to the next feature. So I'm just going to doing a key search here for Gillespie. I've got an InDesign document. This will be the InDesign document I use in the InDesign Client part that I'll do next. Now, when I go and open up this InDesign document, you see that we've got our usual set of information about that file. And now when we go into the Relations tab, which many of you have used to date, you can see we've got our standard 4 relations, which are predefined in the Cumulus application: contained, referenced, variants, and alternates. And then we've got a new one down here, job files. Now, this is one that we've created. So this new feature is the ability to create custom asset relationships. So we want one that links job files together. So our internal definition of this is for a InDesign template we're going to use for a particular job. We want to have all of the job files related to it, so anytime the person can just click on this and they can see a range of different assets have been related to this one here. So we can see we've got some images, which when we get into InDesign Client, I'm going to place into the InDesign file. We've got a spreadsheet telling us a little bit about information about the different files. We've got a job brief as a JPEG, and we've got some explanatory text. I think that text is placed into the InDesign template. Okay, so that's covered off those new features of the web client application, and those features such as the custom asset relationships, the control vocabulary support, that actually reflects into other parts. You would typically be using web client as the Cumulus management tool to use those capabilities. But of course, any searches that you'd be doing through portals, which may be on a keyword that's come out of the control vocabulary, will still retrieve the assets. The control vocabulary is really all about how the user interfaces with the application during data input. The same thing with custom asset relationships. Okay, so everything to date is included in all versions of Cumulus, and now we're going to move to InDesign Client. So I need to say first of all that InDesign Client is a new option. It doesn't come in the base product. You can get it as an option and add it onto your configuration. And we might have quite a few people, and I just need to check back, see how we're going here. We will have quite a few people, I believe, who have come along because they did want to see the InDesign application. They'll be using one of the previous InDesign integrations. That's all good and proper. You can upgrade or side grade, I think is the correct word, from any of the previous Adobe InDesign integrations to InDesign Client. Just contact your usual contact person here at DataBasics or myself, and accounts will just work out the difference there. It's basically you'll be able to cost grade, and it will either be at equivalent value or a difference in value. Okay, let's get across to InDesign. So, right, okay. Right, so I've just gone across to InDesign here, and you can see I've got a standard copy of the most recent InDesign Creative Cloud, and where the Cumulus integration occurs is off the Windows menu here, so we can go down to the Cumulus menu item here, and we can see that InDesign Client comes with 4 panes: categories, information, preview, and records. You can see that I've got these loaded over here as well in my InDesign panels, so I can just click on this and open up my category pane. I'm already connected to my Cumulus catalog. I logged in beforehand. If I went here and I wasn't logged in, there'd be a button there just getting me to log in. There is a setup area where you can set up your login, so each person is logging in underneath in their same user account they use for any other access into Cumulus. And again, you can see we're coming into the same category tree here, so I can go into my published content, into my marketing. If I just double click on marketing, you can see in my records pane now, I get access to all of that different content that we were looking at in either portals or web client. From here, we can do a range of different capabilities. We can look at the information on that or preview it. We can also get to the information from this tab here, or have a look at the preview. Under the preview, we can do a zoom in this way and have a look at the quality of that image, which is really good there. From records, we can also do a few other things. We'll get to the checkout. That's the main part of the presentation in a moment. There's also from over here, we can do a few other things, like we can change the record view set, being the information that is being shown under each asset here. We can go from our thumbnail view to a report view if we choose. And a few other options here. Properties, that's where you set up your login details. Okay, so I'm just going to go up to my search on Gillespie up here, and I'm going to choose my InDesign document here. Just going to now do a checkout. So what checkout does, and for anybody keeping an eye on the background of my screen here, just before I do that, I might just go and put these assets over here and you'll see it better. Okay, so I do not have this InDesign file on my computer at the moment, and when I do a checkout like this, you will see that the InDesign file is being moved temporarily to my desktop as a part of my Now then, I'm just going to then start placing images. Now, this is where we can come back to what we were looking at in our Cumulus over here. This is Web Client. So if I just go back to my asset here, this is the asset that I was looking at, the InDesign template. And you can use, let's see, I've used the annotations here within Web Client to tell us where different images are going to be placed. So over here is we're going to put the image of the girl, there is the image of the boy, and then we're going to have the two mythical creatures over here. So you can see within the Cumulus interface, using annotations from within Web Client, we can set up the job, we can create directions for the person doing the layout, accurately communicate them with them. They can do collaboration. So somebody here, they can respond to this if they like and say, have because in that case it wasn't implicit which mythical creature was going to be set in which picture box. Okay. Okay, so let's go and place it with the little girl that's being placed over there. The boy's going in here, and we're going to put that one there and this one over here. Let's pull that back there. Now then, it's going to grab all of my items there and reset the size there. So you can see that's just pulled the images into the correct size of the picture box. And we've fulfilled this job. We've looked up in Web Client where those images are supposed to be placed. And that's very good. Just do a save in InDesign. And then we can go here. We can either do a couple of different things. We can choose to do the check-in through this button here, or we could save the document. It doesn't really matter. If I just wanted to save where I was up to at a particular time, I can then put in some comments here. Right, and we can choose that we want a PDF created of that on the server. Click the OK button. A bit of stuff happens. You can see on my desktop on the right-hand side that PDF is being created and then transferred over. What it's really doing there is getting InDesign to create the PDF. So we're using a standard export out of this, I think, to get that right. So we go into our InDesign file. You can see in the preview here. Now when we go and look at the preview is now showing the placed images in here. Okay, so all of the different images there. Now, so if we go and have a look at the history of this document, you can see we've now got different version history. So we've got the original one, the template that was uploaded. This is one that I did before the webinar, basically updated the text. And the third one over here is the one we just did right then, placed the images as per the annotations in Web Client. Now I can go over and I can check the different relationships here. So we've still got our 7 files in job files down there. But notice now that we've also got referenced assets over here. This is detecting that this InDesign file has these images linked to it. And you can see this is a very strong part of Cumulus, being able to keep track of the image linking between an image and a document. Later on, I will swap around to show the images and it will show the documents being related to. And we can also see the variant. So the PDF that was created has become a variant. A variant is the same asset in a different format. So you can see that that variant is now showing there as the PDF. That's all really good. And if I just go and look at my upload here and just scroll down to one of these images here. If I go and look at the image now, and this is the bit that's really difficult to track if you're in a design studio, is knowing where you've used an image. So you can see that referencing assets here, so it shows me that this InDesign file has now references that asset. And by using InDesign Client and Cumulus and doing the workflow I've just shown you, you'll be able to keep track of where the images are placed in which InDesign document for you. Okay, now then, that's really good. We've got up to the end of the presentation here. Now then, very happy for anybody to ask some questions here at this stage. We can see that all of the attendees are still logged in here. Yes, after the presentation, it'll be converted to a video. It'll go up on DataBasics YouTube channel, and you'll get a follow-up email tomorrow with a link to that, or you'll just be able to go into our YouTube channel and see that there. I'll just wait a little bit there about more questions. Yeah, the mobile app is just available for iOS devices like iPad. It does work on iPhone. If you've got an Android, you should be using something like Web Client or Portals. So that works all fine. Yes, the InDesign Client, yes. So that's just a question that's being asked. I've just got it here. Yes, this relationship here that's been created between this image and this InDesign file, that was just created as a result of what I just showed you with InDesign Client, okay? So when I placed that image into InDesign Client and into InDesign via InDesign Client and checked it back in, when Cumulus got the check-in, and basically when it went to record this third version here, when it recorded that third version of the InDesign file had the links to the images, and at that point is when the information between this image to this InDesign file was updated, okay? You can also see when we go and look here that this one over here, this is the, remember we've got the relationship that I showed you first, the files used in this job. This is one that you would create manually. So say if you wanted to relate some files together, how you do that. So if I just go to my uploads, say if I wanted to set a relationship between these 5 files, I would just select them. I'd go over to relate here, and I would choose which type of relationship that I want to set up. So I want to set it up as a job file, and I would choose the file that you want to be the main file here. Now, I didn't have an InDesign file to relate there. Maybe if I went and got our InDesign file here, did this, how we would correctly set that up is to set our InDesign file. Obviously, that's the wrong template, but if that was the right template to place these images from Coromandel, you would set that up manually. Then when you went into the InDesign file here, you would be able to see all of those related images. And in the relationship I've created here, we've got more than just images, right? We've got all of the other information that goes along with this job. And we've just shown doing a design job. I chose that theme because we're doing InDesign Client. This could be something else. This could be a building project that you're working on and you wanted to group all of the different assets together. It might have to be doing with your actual business workflows there. This area over here where it shows the InDesign reference assets, that is something specific to InDesign. You know, and you may not be doing that. Maybe you're just relating all of the different assets together. Okay. Okay, seem to have got all of the questions. Thank you very much for your attendance here today. I look forward to talking to you in future. Yes, I will be putting this up on the screen. So again, thank you very much for attending today. We will be setting up the webinars for the next quarter and probably announcing them in July, early July, and we'll be doing that perhaps late in July through August through to beginning of September. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.